Hey, hello, I'm JulieJo. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am so glad that you're here. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today I am doing a video I don't normally do. I'm covering Girl Defined. They are two Christian women who have a podcast. They've been covered a lot all over YouTube. They are popular in a way that they probably don't like. And it's because they say some of the most ridiculous things that people have ever heard. They're not only critiqued by people who aren't Christian, but they're also critiqued by people who are because of how ridiculous some of the things they say are. If you've heard this before 1,000 times, I am sorry, this is going to be annoying, but if you haven't and you don't know me very well, my name is JulieJo and I have a master's in theology and ministry with a bachelor's in cross-cultural studies and a minor in Christian education. I am no longer religious, however, I was very religious for a long time and have had a lot of experience in the church and with other Christians. I have wanted to get into this like Christian girl sphere and Christian couple sphere. I've also covered Brittany Dawn before, and I also have covered Paul and Morgan and want to continue covering both of those groups of people as well as Girl Defined and maybe get into some influencer stuff as well. But the thing I cover the most is multi-level marketing pyramid schemes, and they have my heart. I have been a part of one, and I have also covered them for the last 4 years, and I have grown an amazing platform that I adore and the people that are part of it by doing that, and I will continue to do that. But I've also wanted to dip my toes in the ridiculous Christian girl, submissive wife, Brittany Dawn, Girl Defined, Paul and Morgan type of situation. If you want to see those videos about Brittany Dawn, I will try to put them at the end of this, but today we are talking about Girl Defined, like I said, and this video is titled Liberal Women Refuse to Have Sex with Men. As someone who definitely is on the left, I am very excited to watch this and cover this and say my piece as to why I am refusing to have sex with conservative men. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. I'll give my 2 cents. You can give your 2 cents in the comments below. We'll just have a little fun time together. Shout out to my amazing editor, Ava. You can find her name and link in the description below. She also does YouTube, so I recommend taking a look at her YouTube. All right, enough blabbering on my part. If you want to support the channel for free, simply hit the subscribe button and the like button. Let's get started.
I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head.
Okay, like I said, called Liberal Women Refuse to Have Sex with Men. Let's talk.
What's up? It's Bethany and Kristen with the Girl Defined Show, and my ears are honestly a little tired, and it's not just because I have toddlers. The amount of videos of men and women, but mainly women, who are literally screaming, barking like dogs, meowing like cats, talking about humans, how they want to like eat them out of revenge, not in a good way. They're like, like shaving their heads. I am exhausted. I'm already like, please, I'm raising 2 toddlers. Why is every time I get on social media, there's so much screaming in my ears? But the thing...
What the is she saying? We're 30 seconds in the video and I'm shaving their heads. Let them fucking shave their heads. Maybe you should try it. I don't know. Kristen is the one in the black shirt. Bethany is the one in the pink shirt, if you don't know them. But the generalization of people to try to make their point, it just shows me their lack of knowledge and their lack of research into this. And also, it baffles me when people want to make a point so bad that they're okay being wrong, or they're okay like making something that is subjective objective.
That is kind of the most comical to me in a really sad way.
Yeah.
Like, this is really, really sad, and we want to unpack this, but it is the 4B movement. And now this has been around.
Okay, let's talk about the 4B movement. 4B movement is a radical feminist movement that originated in South Korea. The name refers to its defining 4 tenets, which all start with Korean language term bi, roughly meaning no. Its proponents do not date men, marry men, have sex with men, or have children with men. The movement emerged between 2017 and 2019 on Twitter and on the website WOMAD. It has since spread internationally, namely to the United States after its 2024 presidential election. The movement is considered fringe in South Korea, and it has since reportedly declined there. So women in the United States, after a rapist, became president, someone who has ABUSED'd people and has a cabinet full of people who've also done that, decided, well, we don't really want to have sex with men who are conservative. And in my opinion, there are a few different reasons. For me, Personally, this is my point of view, I choose not to because of safety purposes. It has been shown that white men, specifically more on the conservative side, do rape and kill women more than others. It's just part of the statistics of the United States, okay? Specifically, what I'm talking about is something called femicide, and I want to talk about the statistics a little bit and why I think it's important to know them and understand that one of the reasons that I personally am a part of this 4B idea and 4B movement, mostly when it focuses on conservative men and Republicans and MAGA and all of that, is for this particular reason. So femicide is the gender-based killing of women. It's often thought of as an issue affecting low-income countries, and this could not be further from the truth. A study on female homicide victimization among 25 populous high-income countries found that 70% of all cases occurred in the US. I found this at Sanctuary for Families. I'll make sure to put the link in the description below. And on this, they have the links when they say 70% of all cases occurred in the US. They have a link you can click on to look through their different references. To put that into perspective, on a global scale, the US ranks 34th for intentional female homicide at a rate of 2.6 killings per 100,000 women. Moreover, in the US, almost 3 women are killed by an intimate partner every day. Just as in the case of Isaiah Johnson, women in the US are predominantly killed by men they know and largely by current or former intimate partners. Of all female homicides in 2018 in which the victim to offender relationship could be identified, 92% of victims were killed by a man they knew, and 63% were killed by current husbands, boyfriends, or ex-husbands. The staggering statistics demonstrate the misogyny behind these violent deaths. In the United States, like in so many other countries across the world, women are being murdered because they are women. The link between gender and violence in the US becomes even more apparent when looking at the demographics of male homicides. Men are significantly more likely to be killed by a stranger than a woman. Strangers kill 29% of male homicide victims compared to only 10% of female homicide victims. And while it is true that some men are murdered by their female partners, intimate partner violence accounts for only about 5% of male homicides. Too often, these occur in the context of women acting in self-defense against their abusive male partners. Furthermore, when compared to male homicides, femicides tend to be more violent and intimate in nature. Women are less likely than men to be killed in a shooting, but more likely to be beaten, stabbed, or strangled. I do think it's important to also comment that trans women and women of color face a disproportionate risk. So when considering femicide and its implications, we must acknowledge the barriers and disparities affecting marginalized women and how these increase the risk of violence. Though femicide is a pervasive problem for all women, the reality of women of color is even bleaker. Men are murdering Black women and girls at a rate of almost 3 times higher than white women. For Indigenous women and girls, the homicide rate is 6 times higher than it is for their white counterparts, and current or former partners are responsible for 94% of those homicides. Despite being murdered at higher rates, Black and brown murdered and missing women are not receiving the same media attention and resources as white women. The transgender community is also profoundly affected by femicide, especially trans women of color. 2021 was the deadliest year globally for murders of trans people, and 96% of those victims were trans women or trans feminine people. Of the known cases of anti-trans murders from 2013 to 2018, approximately 1 in 6 are suspected of having been committed by an intimate partner. A variety of factors contribute to this disproportionate violence against trans women, with trans people experiencing police violence at a 3.7 times higher rate than cisgender survivors. Trans women may be hesitant to come forward and report abuse due to institutionalized transphobia within law enforcement and the criminal justice system. There is so much more to cover in all of that, including gun violence and so on and so forth. But I'm going to stop there now. We're going to continue reading, but if you would like to read the entirety of that article, I will have it linked below for you. To continue with the conversation that I brought up when they are talking about the 4B movement, in my opinion, a lot of it is based on the fact that we're fucking tired. We're tired. We are tired of being treated as less than men. We are tired of being killed and raped and abused by men. We are exhausted. And in my opinion, one of the ways I can stay away from that happening as best as I can, because I don't have control of everything, is by not participating in it. very simply. And of course, there are many other reasons, but in my opinion, that is one of the biggest things for me personally as to why I am a part of the 4B movement.
Since 2019, it originated in South Korea, but it is on the rise, baby. American women who did not vote for Trump and who are very upset about it have decided they are joining this 4B movement, and this is the way they are going to get at.
She said, American women who did not vote for Trump and are very upset about it. What she did there was pretty much say that women are upset they didn't vote for Trump. And I feel like it might be her misspeaking, or she might be intentionally trying to be callous and deceptive in this. But she's saying pretty much women are angry. They're throwing a fit about Trump being voted on and then them not voting for Trump and all of this. That's the intention that I see with her saying that. And I think it's disgusting and also wrong. That's not true. We are angry. Personally, why am I angry? I am angry because my rights are being taken away at a significant rate. My mother at my age had more rights than I do at my age currently, well over 20 years later. And I think that there's something wrong there. Obviously, there's a ton more, and I am sure many of you will have things to share in the comments below.
They are joining this 4B movement, and this is the way they are going to get at who, I'm not really sure, but they're gonna get at it. They're gonna get at it. And here's,
well, it's very obviously getting at conservative men. And honestly, some women, whether they're cis or trans, are not having sex with men at all, whether they're conservative or not. And I think that that is also an extremely valid thing. I am definitely not showing up as much when it comes to men in my current life and refuse to sleep with most men, because what else can we do to get them, the men who are more left and who are safer, to get the other men to get it together? Men aren't going to listen to us. Those conservative men, the MAGA men, they're not going to listen to us. We've tried for a long time. What else can we do? One of the good ways is the 4B movement. And if you also include all men, including those that are leftist and are feminist and do support women, it's another way of saying, hey, they're not going to listen to us. Step up. What else are we going to do? So, I mean, that is a very valid idea as well, to be a part of the 4B movement and include all men.
That's what this movement is. The 4B movement is women who refuse to date men, refuse to get married, refuse to have sex with men, and refuse to have children. And now, this group of women, wow, this is their way of saying, like, we hate what's happening in America. We hate that we didn't get our way. We know that the majority of people in America voted to bring Trump into office, but we are so mad that we have concocted our best plan to take a stand and make a movement, and this is what we're...
I know that I keep pausing her and I should let her cook, but honestly, her saying that we're mad that we didn't get our way, very simply put, yes, I am mad I didn't get my way. Why? Because my way includes my safety. My way includes my ability to be a part of society as not a lesser than human being. My way includes having control over my body and what I want to do with my body. My way includes inclusivity of all women, trans, cis, or otherwise. It's very simple, but what she's doing by saying they didn't get their way is acting like we are children throwing a fit, when in reality we're just people who want to feel safe. We are human beings who want to have rights. We don't want to be a lesser person in society, simply put. And for Black and brown people and trans people, it goes even deeper. I'm a part of the LGBTQ plus group of queer people. Love queers. Hey queer. Hey queers, I'm queer, you know? I don't know why it bugs them so much, because this doesn't affect them. I think sometimes they just want to talk, even though they have 157,000 subscribers and their videos get an average of 1,000 views. I feel like that should tell them something, but I guess it doesn't. But the fact that us choosing to do this bothers them is interesting to me. I'm wondering how it affects them. What I see is like, listen, I'm not sleeping with them. If you're conservative and whatever, you can do it. You can sleep with them. I don't care. Doesn't bother me none. If I had to guess, I would think it's more of like a pick-me issue. I would think it's more of like, how can I impress these men that I see as better than me, that I see as like someone that I need validation from? Because as a conservative MAGA Christian especially, and if you're a Christian, you don't view this way, then I'm not talking about you. A lot of times they see men as a higher being, as a higher person in society, which is the way our society treats them as well. And so they want their validation any way they can get it. I see a lot of conservative, particularly MAGA Republicans, act as more of a pick-me and do things on social media as more of a, hey, look at me, conservative men, MAGA men in particular, love me. I appreciate you, love me, look at what I'm doing for you. And so that could potentially be what they're doing. I'm not sure.
This is what we're going to do. I literally am speechless.
I just have to ask who, like you said, who is the one getting punished here? Because here we have women rising up and saying, we're not going to have sex with men. We're not going to have children.
We're not going to date them.
We're not going to date. So basically, the patriarchy is super evil and super bad. And our way of fighting against it is by basically cutting off men and any sort of connection, relationship, producing children with them.
Well, that's wrong, Kristen. I don't know if you just are dense or if you intentionally didn't hear it, but we didn't say we won't be friends with our male counterparts. If they're not conservative, I'll be their friend, absolutely. Also, the idea that like having children will make us happier is a wild idea. The truth is, it's your Christian views that you're projecting onto other people. I don't have that same view. I don't care about that view, okay? What she's doing is taking it and making it seem more ridiculous, more outrageous, when in reality, that's not what we said. And can I also tell you something? If you don't want to be friends with men, good on you. Good on you. Who cares? Who cares? Why does it matter to them? Very simple. Good question. I'd love for them to answer.
Because it takes a man and a woman to make a baby. We are not going to do any of that, and we're going to punish the men.
Yeah.
Are the men actually getting punished by this group of women, or is this group of women ultimately punishing themselves? It reminds me of a child who says to their parent, I'm going to hold my breath until you give me what I want because I'm mad.
Yes.
Who is getting punished there? The parents are like, whoa, you're not talking, you're quiet, you're doing your thing.
I am pansexual, so I also have sex with people who aren't cis men. So I will say women don't need a man to have an orgasm. I don't really know how else to put that. We don't want to sleep with conservative MAGA Republicans. I don't know why they think that we're like biting at our nails and like freaking foaming at the mouth, but refusing to allow it to happen. Like acting like we are just dying to have sex with MAGA Republican men. That's wild. If you're foaming at the mouth over someone who doesn't give a fuck about you, go to therapy.
Hey.
I know you can't hold your breath forever. Like, who is the one getting punished?
I know you can't hold your breath forever. Are you saying that you know we can't stop ourselves from having sex with MAGA conservative men forever? Because that's a challenge I'll happily accept and will take and will win. I will win that challenge.
The part that's really interesting is this is another woman came out talking all about this. And it's all these women who are saying like, we're feminists, we're for women, women are suffering, basically saying because Kamala, who is a woman, didn't get into office that, oh my gosh, look, we're so oppressed, we're so all of this stuff. One, I just want to remind them, like Trump actually doesn't have any power right now. The Biden administration, Kamala, they are in the office right now. They've been there for almost 4 years. They're still in power. So women who are waking up and saying, oh, my freedoms are gone. Like one, you got to go with the program. Like that's not how it works. But also it's really interesting to me because we are the feminist movement and the modern feminist movement that we're seeing now. They're hopping on this 4B whole train. It's so crazy because they want to fight for women and they want more of women. But it's really interesting because it's almost like they're diminishing parts of their womanhood. There's actually like a popular trend right now that goes along with this where they're basically saying, like we are choosing to be very dry, not alcoholically, but like sexually. They're basically saying like we don't want anything flowing sexually. And in kind of crude terms, when people
I have thoughts. We know that so this was after Trump won the election, but before he got into office. So we know now, is it being May and him being in office for a little over 4 months, that his intentions are to hurt women. I mean, that is his intentions. He's done it. He's hurt women plenty of times before, has been convicted of felonies for it, and is happily doing it as a president. So that just bites them on the ass. Not that they care. They don't care about being stepped on by men. They're bootlickers of men anyway, so whatever, especially conservative men. But I care. And I think we all kind of should collectively, but you know, whatever. Anyway, the way they make it sound is we're throwing a fit. And I guess we are, but it's not in the way that a toddler would. It's in the way that a woman who's fucking tired of being treated like shit would.
In kind of crude terms, when people say like I'm really wet or whatever, it's like they're basically saying like I'm very attracted, I'm very sexually excited, but they're saying we are not going to do that. They're literally saying like we are dry, we are dried up, and it's just crazy. And they're saying that in a sense too, like we are like.
We are the opposite of aroused. Yeah. We are suppressing
and they're
any
saying
sort of
like
arousal.
We are suppressing this part of ourselves. We are, and they also were saying like we're not going to be like feminine in this way. We're not going to open this door at all. And they're literally saying like maybe we'll go make money. Maybe we'll go get jobs. Maybe we'll like try to rise up in the corporate space. But it's crazy to me because they're basically saying I'm going to cut off an entire part of my femininity and a beautiful part of my life as like revenge. And so it's almost like, let me kill some of my femininity in support of like women.
Like a sacrifice, but I don't think it's viewed as a sacrifice.
I don't think that your femininity is tied to having to have sex with cis men. Like I don't think your femininity is tied into that. I don't think that is what femininity is. I think that in their view as Christian conservative women, it might be. Identity is contaminated by their religion, very simply, in my opinion. Of course, if you're religious, you likely have a different viewpoint on that than I do, and respectfully, we can disagree. But I think that their view of femininity and my view of femininity are very, very different. And so their idea is that you're like cutting off a section of your femininity because you refuse to sleep with cis men. Babe, that's made me more feminine.
Yeah. I think it's the idea that I get anyways is that it's definitely intended to be a punishment.
Yeah, I know.
But in the meantime, you are sacrificing a huge part of your womanhood.
Yeah.
A huge part of we are sexual beings. To say I'm going to cut off all my sexuality and sexual desire and arousal and I'm going dry. Like,
have they not used a toy before or like had sex with someone other than cis men? Because they're missing the fuck out, I'm just saying. Do they not self-please themselves? That's a sad life.
Range
out of rebellion in response to what's happening, like you are ultimately punishing yourself, and like you said, you're cutting off your femininity, and this isn't the first time this has happened.
For sure.
So one of the things that we are very passionate about this because this is a cycle that happens again and again, and the patriarchy is always at the center in so many of these situations throughout history. The bullseye, the patriarchy, yes, in their mind of what the patriarchy is, the patriarchy rule, that is the bullseye of their attack, and so it's like women against the patriarchy. And you know, this isn't the first time this happened. We unpack this in our brand new book, Made to Be She. We take a deep dive into the feminist movement, where feminists had a very similar mindset, where they were fighting against all of their natural feminine gifts and the creation that God gave them, women to be beautiful nurturers of life, women to get pregnant, to bear children, women to be these beautiful responders of a man's pursuit. It's like everything that was beautiful about this complementary relationship, women in the feminist movement, so many radicals fought against that and said, down with the patriarchy, which is...
Do you know why, though? Because this relationship, this like men and women thing, the men aren't doing their part. They're not protecting the women. They don't give a fuck about the women. They, in fact, usually kill them. Okay? So I don't know how else to put it other than, let's say you're a Christian woman. Does Jesus say the majority of men should kill their wives? I don't think so. I think that Jesus says that men should treat their wives as Christ treated the church. And I think that historically that doesn't happen. So why are women fucking pissed? Well, if you're a Christian and you're pissed, it's because men aren't doing that. They're not. They're usually the people who kill and murder women. Why don't they do their part first? And then maybe some people will agree with you a little bit more.
Down with marriage, down with motherhood, down with family, anything that makes with family. I'm getting out of my home. The home, there are feminists quoted talking about how being in the home is like being chained. It's like you are in jail, you are in prison. So to break free from the home, from this oppressive state, to get out on your own, to never need a man, to never depend on a man, to never rely on a man, for a woman, that's going to be true freedom. But as history reveals, women have not been getting happier since the feminist movement. There are multiple places you can go to see. And just talking to the average woman today, in general, a woman who has bought into this radical feminist idea, she on average is not happier and living a more fulfilled, more satisfied, more vibrant life. And
where did you get those statistics? I think you pulled them out of your ass, Kristen. Okay, because First off, as someone who is currently getting a divorce, I respect my previous partner. They are a great human being. I have nothing against them. They are not one of these terrible men that I've been speaking of. There are things that I have found out about myself in this, I guess, these several changes I've made in my life that I have never been more excited and happy for. I am in a position where life doesn't feel so melancholy, where life doesn't feel like I need a break from it every second, where I don't feel like I have to live in another world at all times. Like, I can be present with people that I love, new people, friends. You know, I have made this life now where it feels like it's more worth living by simply changing where I was. But on the other side, women are angry. They're more angry, actually, than they used to be because their rights are being taken away day by day, especially with this new administration. So while a lot of women, cis, trans, whatever gender really you fall under in that area, a lot of us are happier with our lives and our inner circle of people, while also angrier with the feminist movement and the politics that have come about and have taken more from us. And we've gone back in time than we are moving forward. Like I said, my mom had more rights at 29 than I currently do. And it's over 20 years later. And that's not right. That's not okay. They're literally keeping a dead woman in Georgia alive simply to see if the baby in her will grow. That's it. She's an incubator. That kind of thing happens on Handmaid's Tale. That literally happened on the Handmaid's Tale. These things are lining up in this fascist society that are scary for women, cis, trans, whatever. Scary. And we're angry and we don't want it to happen. We don't want to lose our rights. We don't want this viewpoint of life to be ours where we have to cater to the men and that's been the past before and we're fucking done. We just want to live our lives. Very simply want to live our lives without being afraid if we take a step outside, we'll be killed by a man, okay? Without being afraid that if we get pregnant and have a miscarriage, we're going to get arrested. Because that's happened too.
So often young women jump onto this bandwagon. I'm guessing there's a lot of young women on this one now, and it doesn't actually, the ramifications don't often hit immediately. It takes, some time, some years, and you see this whole wave of women who bought into these mindsets, and now they're like 30s, 40s, 50s, looking at their life, looking at all the stands they took, and they're empty. They are...
Wait, but I thought you said this was a newer movement. So how do you know that these women now in their 40s and 50s and whatever are unhappy? It started in 2019. Get it together. Like, if you're going to say these things, why don't you show us where you're getting this idea from or where you're getting these truths, quote unquote truths from? Because you can pull them from your heart, but really what you're doing is pulling from your ass, okay? Because you don't have anything to prove. It's just all bullshit. It's not correct. And you're saying these things deceptively, acting as though they are.
They are drinking their glasses of Cabernet going, I have nothing. I've got my wine and that's it. I don't have a flourishing family, flourishing husband, children, because I didn't invest in any of that. I rejected it.
Who said that? In fact, I see a lot more women who are older, who are single, who don't have children, are happier. They have more money. They have lifelong friends. They have, a lot of times, their uncles and aunts, and they're flourishing in their career. Are there some that I'm sure regret it? Sure, yeah. But I don't know where you're getting this idea that it is more often than not that they regret it. It's a weird thing to die on. Like, it's a weird hill to die on in her point of view, because I actually think it's on the contrary. Like, I think that, and I'll have to look into it a little bit more, that statistically women who are single and who are flourishing in their career and who have friends feel more fulfilled. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but I just don't see how hers is correct. She doesn't give us any information.
And now this is the life we have. And for so many, it's not a happy life.
Yeah. It's crazy because just values-wise, if you look at what these women are so upset about, and this is like, if you're just going to talk in political terms, like it really is more on the left. These women are so upset and so mad. And it's crazy because when you look online at all of these responses, what's celebrated by these women is divorce. Divorce is being celebrated like crazy. There was a video recently of a woman saying, like, our freedoms are going to be taken away. It's going to be so hard to get divorced because they're going to take away no fault divorce. We should be able to get divorced on a dime. Like, divorce is just celebrated. And she said,
do you understand how important no fault divorce is? I don't think they understand divorce in of itself. As someone going through divorce, we're doing like a joint divorce. We have everything we want situated. It's not like a big deal in the way that we're going about it. It's pretty simple. And we're lucky, okay? We're lucky. But what my mom went through with my dad, I'm not gonna like put all my family stuff out there, but dear God, I just don't like this idea that you can't get divorced because you're incredibly unhappy with your marriage, that you are not in love with the person that you're married to, or you've changed as a human, they've changed as a human, and y'all just aren't compatible anymore. You can't get divorced because of that, or that it's shameful, or the way that they're making it look is a little bit more shameful than not. I think that's weird. That's a weird take.
And so if you are unhappy in your relationship at all, if you are like thinking maybe you'll get divorced down the future, do it now. You need to get out of that relationship. You need to start putting you first. And then another lady who I came across who was basically saying like, divorce is okay, breakups are okay, all of this stuff is okay. You know what's not okay? It's not okay to be unhappy. It's not okay to be in a relationship where you're not being validated, basically. It's just like And then I saw another woman who is a Christian woman, very like popular figure, and she recently left her husband, and the comments are just like, you go girl, you've never been happier. And here's the deal. There are women who are in real struggle.
What's wrong with women being happy? I don't understand these two women. What's wrong with women being happy? That is so fucked. It's like, they're like, put yourself first, blah, blah. Yeah, because women normally have to put everybody else ahead of them and don't take care of themselves. Especially women who are married, especially women who are married with children. I don't understand this concept of it being bad to want to be happy.
Struggling, horrific relationships, who need to get safe, who need help, who need all of that. But what this movement is doing is it's actually diminishing from the women who are really suffering, and it's making every woman who's like, just the relationships take work. This is kind of hard. I want to be able to do this now. I want to be able to do that now. It's like they're actually hurting the women who are in real suffering relationships, because they're basically saying like, my unhappiness is at the same level as a woman who's actually genuinely in a really abusive relationship.
No, they're not. You're saying that. They're not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. Me getting a divorce because I was unhappy is not saying that my unhappiness is equal to someone who's experiencing DV. Also, you don't give a fuck about the people who experience DV. You don't care. You're just saying this to try to like appeal to emotion. It's a fallacy. It's a logical fallacy, by the way. You're just saying this to try to appeal to emotion. You're so unhinged for that, Bethany. You suck a duck, okay? You're so unhinged. A poor duck. I am stunned because like she even cares about people experiencing DV. Come on now.
And so it's just like women are actually hurting women by like kind of like minimizing or like elevating small everyday relational struggles, you know, and saying and then saying putting them on the same level as women who are in real struggling relationships. And then the other
No, they're not. And also, in my opinion, I've been able to get divorced because I've seen other women get divorced and find happiness. That was one of the reasons I was okay with this divorce process. And like, I saw other women who were happy after their divorce. And I was like, that looks really nice. And I wonder, I'm curious, for people who have experienced DV, do you look at women who get divorced, see their happiness, and does it pull you towards that idea more? Does it make you want to get out of that situation more? I don't know. I haven't experienced that, so I don't know. But it's weird for her to act like she actually cares about those experiencing DV. But whatever.
Other thing that they're celebrating so much is, of course, the killing of babies in the womb. And so in some ways, I'm like, you're not having sex. Great, less babies are going to die. Hallelujah. Like, that's actually how babies are made. So hallelujah that you're not going to have sex, because if you just want to kill those babies, it's like, great that you're not doing that. And we actually take a deep dive into the founder of Planned Parenthood. So Margaret Sanger, a lot of people have heard her name. They don't know much about her. She's kind of been held up as this hero, patron saint of the feminist movement and like one of the founding members. She actually is the founding of Planned Parenthood and the start of it all. And I actually unpack her entire story in our book, Made to Be She. So if you have not gotten this book, you've got to go right now. Like,
I don't know much about Margaret Sanger, but if you do, feel free to comment below. I don't know if Margaret Sanger is a good person, a bad person, or somewhere in the gray area. I think all of us fall somewhere in the gray area. So I'm not going to speak too much on it, but bad people can create good things too, or bad people can have good ideas too. So if she is a shitty person, what she's done is been a part of a huge thing that has improved healthcare for women and trans people and non-binary, gender fluid, all of that. So if she is shitty, at least she's done something good with her life.
run to Amazon, run online, run to your local bookstore if you have one still, and grab a copy of Made to Be She, Reclaiming God's Plan for Fearless Femininity, because we as women need to be equipped with the truth. When there are so many messages coming in right now, and so many women who are saying, like, we're oppressed, all our freedoms are being taken away, all of these lies who are actually damaging women more than helping them, who are actually destroying family, destroying relationships. Can you imagine these families with kids and they're saying, like, divorce, break up the family for just ridiculous reasons? It's like, we need help. We need.
As someone who had parents who went through a really horrific, awful, terrible, miserable divorce, I am so glad my parents separated, because my life would have been way worse. My childhood would have been so much more traumatic than it was. It was traumatic, but it would have been so much more traumatic than it was. Yes, it is better sometimes for parents to be separated, for their children in particular. I had a conversation with someone the other day where people genuinely don't care nowadays, especially conservative, right-leaning, Republican, MAGA in particular, and people like them, Girl Defined, where they don't actually care what the truth is. Like, they don't care about researching, they don't care about the statistics, they don't care about any of that. They just care about making a point and sounding right so that they can make money and feel good about themselves. And I feel like that's what's going on here.
Hope. We need to know the truth. We need to know the God who created us, and we unpack this. And the reason we go into Margaret Sanger's story is because you need to know the truth of what the abortion movement, of what the feminist movement was founded on. It was not truly a movement for women. It was a movement that truly was built on the, like, deletion, the elimination of people that Margaret Sanger didn't like. She was very into the eugenics movement. Her mentor, she was very into that. She was very into the free love movement, like basically be with anyone, all of these orgies, all of these parties. And she herself was a very depressed, very unhappy woman looking for happiness. And her idea was to abandon her own family, her own children, her own husband, go sleep with all sorts of men, go and try to like find happiness in that way. To basically, she thought that eliminating people who she called literally like retards and idiots, people who she thought were less than like mentally, people of certain races. She thought, okay, if we can eliminate them through a scientific method of abortion, maybe the world will be a better place. She was a very lost, very dark, very depressed woman. And this is what our modern feminist movement is truly built upon.
No, it's not. The modern feminist movement is built on black and brown women. Okay? Honestly. They don't know shit about nothing.
And if you're like, oh my goodness, like, are you sure? Where did, like, grab a copy of Made to Be.
No. You know what? Actually, I might, though, because I want to read it and then read them to filth. Don't grab it. Do not buy their book.
Be She, because we take a deep dive and share the facts and the stats about how all of these years of feminism, women are truly right now more depressed, more unhappy, and more medicated than ever before. Women are loaded up on medication and we're still incredibly unhappy. And you can see it through the women on.
It seems like the both of you need therapy and medication, if I'm being really honest with you. I've never been happier on my medication. Okay? I can function properly in this society that is hard to function in with someone who has decent mental health, which I'm not sure you can find many places anymore.
Online right now, something didn't go their way. They think their life is destroyed. They're loading up on more meds and they're literally acting like animals and toddlers. And it's so sad. So we don't care which side of the aisle you're on in this. We want better for you and we want God's best for you.
Yes.
That's the
You say we're acting like toddlers, but like, aren't y'all throwing a fit currently? You're currently throwing a fit that supports conservative men. Oh, God, could you fucking imagine?
only place that it can truly be found.
Yes.
And so whichever side of the aisle you're on, if you're like, deep in my heart, I'm not that happy. Deep in my heart, I'm not that satisfied. I don't like the way that my life is going. I don't like how I feel on the inside. I don't like the purpose that I have. I don't like all of this fighting. I would encourage you to grab a copy of Made to Be She. Invite your girlfriends to do this book with you because it truly will open your eyes and change your life. And I think you'll see the world, you'll see politics, you'll see your purpose in a completely different way.
Yes, it's so good. Amen to all of that. Our purpose as women is not dependent upon men. I think sometimes in conservative circles, we can even swing the opposite end of the spectrum where we aren't like, you know, throwing out all of men, throwing out.
But it is dependent on men. Yours is dependent on men. What you're doing currently is backing and supporting conservative men, and that's weird, okay? Like, you're doing this, you think you're doing this for women, but you're not. And that's where your misogyny is seeping through. You're not doing this for women.
Our fertility, throwing out babies, throwing out everything. We're almost swinging to the other side where we are elevating it so much to where having a man, having a family, having a baby, that becomes our idol. That becomes the very thing that we're pursuing. And so there are ditches here, which we unpack: the ditch of the feminist movement, the ditch of religious movement. And what we want to get back to, our passion in writing this book, is, like you said, to help women see where's the center. And the center of these ditches is what we call gospel redeemed womanhood, where we recognize, we acknowledge on both ends of the aisle, both ends of the spectrum, both ditches, that we all have a problem. The women over here in this ditch have a problem. The women in this ditch have a problem. And our problem ultimately is sin. Our
Wherever the fuck you are is a problem too, for the record.
problem is brokenness in this world caused by sin. The brokenness that we've experienced because of other people's sin against us. And then the sinful choices we make in response, that also causes more brokenness. And so the answer to all of this isn't to elevate one thing even more. Marriage, family, it's my God, it's my goal, I must have it. Or the marriage, family, children, this is the worst. I'm cutting it all off because that's the patriarchy. That's evil. That's awful. I'm going to be independent, find my autonomy that way. And somehow that's going to bring me freedom and happiness. Both responses are wrong, but both responses are recognizing, okay, there is a deeper issue here. There's a problem. And the Bible lays it out so clearly that the problem for man, for woman, for all of us, the brokenness is sin. And so what does it look like as women today to open our hands and say, yes, I am broken. I am struggling in my marriage, in my motherhood, in my singleness, in this political environment. I am struggling. I see the brokenness in myself, in this world. What is the solution? The solution is to turn to someone much greater than ourselves, outside of our own ideas, our own thoughts, our own agendas, our own plans, our own 4B declaration, whatever. It's to turn to our Creator and say, God, I need you. I am a needy woman. We are a needy world. You are our Savior. I can't save myself. I can't turn to any movement to be the Savior for me. You are the only perfect one, the one who came, who died for sinners, the one who offers new life, who offers redemption, who offers forgiveness.
Sorry. Hello? Jesus, hey, did you know I was watching Girl Defined? Is that what you called? No? No, my plants are doing well. I know, the flowers lasted a long time. Yeah. No, I just thought you might be calling about them because they're talking about you. Or you don't give a fuck about them? Or what they say? Yeah, no, I think so too. They could have chosen a better title for that book. It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, well, this is just it's weird timing that you called while I was watching them. Yeah. I will read them to Philip, but you know that I will. All right, bye. That was Jesus. He actually didn't give a shit what they had to say. He was calling about my flowers. I've had flowers that have lasted a really long time. Jesus likes to garden.
Jesus calls us to walk in a very different way than what our hearts are naturally inclined to walk in. Whichever ditch you tend to fall in, our hearts are not bent toward the truth, towards what's right, toward what is holy and gospel-centered. And Jesus came and modeled that for us, and he offers that redemption for every single one of us. And as women specifically, who this book is for is unpacking what does it look like to walk in gospel redeemed womanhood, redemptive womanhood, not of our own selves, not of our own bootstraps, but of a humble reliance on our Savior, on our Creator, and looking to him to say, God, you created man and woman. You created the male and female. You created the family structure. You created pregnancy, hormones, birth, marriage, all of these things. These were your idea. What do you say about them? How do you call us to live and walk in these ways rightly for your glory?
How the does someone sit and listen to this and go, that's good shit? Secondhand embarrassment. Anyone feel like they're at church camp again? A little ick.
And are flourishing, even in the midst of a broken, sinful world. How do we do that as broken people? And that is exactly what we unpack in our book. So if you are currently feeling hopeless, tired, exhausted, I'm trying to think of all of the words to describe this, then I
can't stop listening to Bethany. She's not talking, but she's like, yeah. Her moan. I was like, girl, stop. That's wild of you.
I truly believe that what you need is the hope of the gospel. And the way we unpack this specifically for women in Made to Be She is we help you see how to walk in that, how to find that heart of forgiveness, that forgiveness of Christ, how to be transformed by him in your womanhood in every area of your life.
She's looking at her sister's feet like, I'm sorry, it's so funny. She didn't give a fuck what her sister's saying.
How to think differently by God's grace transforming you. That is what we want for you. That is what we've experienced. We are continuing on this road of sanctification. We have not arrived. We are still learning and growing so much, but God is the one doing the work in us. And through him, we have found so much freedom and so much hope. We don't have perfect families. We don't have perfect marriages, but in Christ, there is so much hope and so much freedom that comes when you bring him into the center of all of the messiness. So we cannot encourage you enough to grab a copy of Made to Be She because we love you and we believe that this book will radically transform your life for the better. Go to girldefined.com/she to grab a copy of Made to Be She today, or on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
It's giving Boss Babe Girl Boss buy my product. This whole video. It's like, I'm saying all of this so that you'll buy my product, please. My book. Anyway, that was fun. What'd y'all think? Let me know your thoughts below on their video. Leave them in the comments. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel for free, just simply hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also, don't forget, I will also be putting my Brittany Dawn videos at the end of this. So if you want to watch those, you're welcome to. Thank you so much for being here, listening, being a part of this, and being a part of my channel. It means a lot to me. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Show you what I'm all about. Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about yours.